everybody. Happy New Year. As I begin the next shloka, verse 18 from Vivekachudamani, would just love to know how many of you find yourself between these Thursday satsangs contemplating on some of the teachings. Any hands? Significant mananam is going on. There is something called shravanam, listening deeply without ego, being open to receiving. Mananam means paying importance to what has been heard and contemplating upon it in the personal context of our own life. And Niridhyasana means the third stage, where what we have heard, contemplated upon and made our own. Hypothetically, we have made a certain piece of the truth our own, and then we apply it in practice. For example, we keep hearing that forgiveness is good, but we apply it. We hear that sitting quietly in the early morning is good, then we apply it, we think about it, and we do it. And when we do it for some time, it leads to some experiential growth. So we are beginning from verses 8 to 13, a section of the Vivekachudamani, which is now going to give us the means of wisdom. First we realize what is the path we want to follow. We also understood how fortunate we are because we are human, we are mumukshu, and we have teacher. And then we recognize what doesn't work. What doesn't work is just empty rituals or doing lots of work, no matter how noble and uplifting and how holy. That doesn't mean that this piece has been put aside. And these are not good, but it was clarified to us that all these rituals, all these holy acts, charities, donations, pranayamas, asanas, everything we do, karma, action, physical action, mental action, spoken action, all of these only serve as much seva as I am doing, right alongside me, if not more, non-stop. So what is this? Donation of your time to a good cause, donation of your mind to a good cause, donation of your intelligence to a good cause, donation of your passion to a good cause, donation of your annamaya sharira to a good cause, donation of your pranamaya manomaya sharira to a good cause, donation of your intellect, no? Donation of everything to a good cause. And then Shunyaji says, oh, this won't lead to the self. Why? Because we are seekers not only of some positive shift, we are seekers not just of expansion. We are seekers not just of evolution of consciousness in a random, vague way. Our Shruti is a word which means our text, our revealed higher Vedic text, where each word resounds with experiential wisdom. Our Shruti tells us that there is a possibility of activating within our own selves in this lifetime a state of consciousness or a state of being which is absolute bliss. Absolute. It is not wavering joy, wavering positivity which has some instability, and when we say I've had a positive shift, then there is a possibility of then a negative shift. Negative, positive, some goodness followed by some badness, some generosity followed by some pettiness. So these wavering, changing states of good and bad, even if very good, and good and permanent good, and yet we are looking at the possibility of unalloyed bliss. Unalloyed jnanam, knowledge. Ananda, unalloyed bliss. You understand unalloyed? Unalloyed knowledge, where knowledge is not separate, where I am the source of all knowingness. I am no longer searching it. I am no longer searching for happiness. And I am eternal. My existence is uninterrupted. Right now my existence is even broken up by my own bodies. My food body, my energy body, prana, my mind body, my intellect body, my karmic causal body. So many bodies I have. And my existence is interrupted. It is jerky. They all interweave to give me a composite experience, and yet I myself am unaware, and sometimes they are jerky. They don't cooperate, or at least to my knowledge. But I am beyond these breaks and this discontinued continuum of my existence. And then further, my existence is not combined, contained and threatened by death. Nor is it subject to birth. And nor is it forced to be contained in a certain container called, yoni, womb. Now you are in the womb of an ant as an egg. Now I am fine that I am contained in the womb of a tiger. I like that one. But still, my territory is closing in. The human being is hunting me. Life is very threatened in different yoni. Ayu, age, yoni, ayu, and bhoga. Bhoga means sukha or dukkha. Will I be happy or unhappy? It is almost like my existence is dominated by these things. I am not sovereign. I am not the master. This satsang, this Vedanta Sangha is reminding me. This text will, by the time I'm in the middle of it, and as I proceed, I will be guided to recollect a sovereign part of me and then reclaim it through a certain path. A student asked me today, well, I experience positive shifts. Where are they coming from and who do they belong to? Jiva or Atma? My non-self or myself? Well, everything belongs to the self. But so she asked, then should I be happy about them? I said, you can appreciate them, but you don't need to get stuck to them. Because more important is, where is the source of this positive shift? That is more important, because you are saying, I am experiencing a positive shift. Mandarji, they did not go shopping for that positive shift. Nobody touched them with a wand to have a positive shift. They fell asleep miserable. They were asleep, and then they got up in the morning and something had shifted. Or they were busy having a tantrum, and in the middle of the tantrum something shifted. What shifted that you are experiencing? Who is experiencing? The personality self called Jiva is experiencing some positivity, and we got very fixed by that. We got very happy. In fact, we build a whole nice personality around it, write a bestseller and go on a book tour based upon that shift. No problem in that. One can enjoy that while one is on earth. However, more exciting in Vedanta is, what is that reservoir from which this tiny drop of positive shift was experienced by me? And if it has come from within me, then I don't need to beg and bow to you. I don't need to steal and, bargain with you. I have to now get to know me. I know my beating heart. I know how my limbs work. I can feel my hunger. I can see some of my thoughts. And they were very dark the other day, but there is some other repository of amazing intelligence that has confounded me and surprised me in the middle of my personality feeling dull and dumb. It came. All the eureka moments of the scientist, when they gave up on everything and said, God, who knows what the answer is and went to bed. Then they get up in the morning and they know the answer. The knowledge comes from within. The problem gets solved from within. The answer to life's difficult mysteries come from within. And when everybody has left us and we are weak, and then the hope springs from within and the Shakti comes from within, then in Advaita Vedanta we want to know what is that within. And that within, that source of unalloyed bliss, knowledge, and uninterrupted existence, where I am no longer non-sovereign in the decisions to my existence, I want to touch that. Is that okay? Is that too much? Actually, it is not. It is harder to find a playmate and a spouse who will put the dishes in the dishwasher the way we want it. And it is easier to connect within because this, I belong to it. You understand? I have an intimate relationship with the self. And so we go about trying to find the perfect everything outside and we come away with imperfection, right? That is what this first line is saying, that, okay, all that didn't work. It worked but only limited faida, limited benefit. It definitely allows you, the real seeker, to say, I'm doing my pranayam, but I'm not going to say to Shunyaji, you know Shunyaji, I've been doing my spiritual practice for 10 years and frankly I'll tell you I'm really frustrated. This yoga thing is not working. Well, if you had Viveka, discrimination, due to the study of a proper text, systematically you will understand you are doing pranayam not to encounter some god with a flute in front of you. You were doing this so that you could purify your mind to be calm and to detach from the world, you know, the TV blaring here, the people in the street laughing and joking where your mind wants to run, right? So you will have right expectation with the right thing. Or people say something like, people have come to me, especially in India, you know, when you go there, I have noticed that if some people know that I am there, and in India, Mandarji, if the word gets out that you are slightly spiritual and an Ayurveda healer, people want to be touched to be healed. You know that it is. It's a very difficult terrain. People will have blind faith in you. So they will come and they will complain things like, we heard you are very spiritual. I tell you, I'm very disenchanted with God. My husband has started 2 temples, you know. 2 temples he contributed to. And the boundary wall of that ashram. And look at our health. He has cholesterol and hernia and knee problem. And I have a nerve disorder, excessive weight, and such solid depression. I want to cut my slit. What has God done for me? This is a real case. I looked at them and they kept eating while talking. And they were wearing all sorts of religious threads. And I wanted to say to the person, it's good you build the temple and the umbrella to give the poor people some shade. That good karma will go to you. Because it will come to you, there are 2 lists. But all this stuffing in the mouth, that is also karma, it will bring its own consequences. All this grievances and anger and wrong expectation that I'm building the boundary wall to bribe God to give me self-realization. That is wrong. If I had built a wall because I like to help the poor people, not be in the hot loo, burning heat of Delhi and surrounding area, and you indeed saw people with benefit of sitting under it and drinking gada water, cool water, your expectations would be met. If I have the expectation that by being the Acharya here, I am going to somehow get the ticket to myself and God, then it's a wrong set of expectation. But if I know that by being an Acharya, I'll get good food to eat, I will have wonderful colleagues to chat with. I will have wonderful students. People will benefit. I will focus on my health. And the world will be a better place. So that when my son, who is eating pizza like there is no tomorrow, develops health problems, he can go to any of his didis, his sisters, and get his health fitted, whether I am there or not. You understand? Are these reasonable expectations? These are reasonable expectations. So, we confuse our religious path. Then there are people who even change their guru, saying, I've been with this guru 32 years, nothing happened. It's very common. What were you expecting to happen? So therefore, they are saying, what is the means of then wisdom? We want to touch not just the positive shift, but the repository of infinite positivity within us. So that we become here and now powerful masters of our own existence, and even bits of it, even sparks of it make us happier people. I'd like to see some hands of people who've been here 4 months or 4 years or more, who had bits of coming closer within, and there is non-tangible well-being and power that you experience. Can anybody raise hands? Look. So it is not even that one moment of electrifying nirvana consciousness, but even as you move closer and closer, or even that belief system, why am I crying like this? Why am I believing that I am helpless, powerless, miserable forever? It cannot be. I am that. I am an aspect of that, and I am that. So even in this moment, I have a helping hand and it's within. So what can I do? I can close my eyes and touch that. So this science teaches us about that. Because otherwise, if we close our eyes, we just see a heartburn and burp and pain, and that's all we see. But through guided knowledge, certain new thoughts will be introduced, and these thoughts will travel to one that cannot be described by words, cannot be known by images, cannot be touched, cannot be smelled, cannot be tasted, but allows the tongue to taste and make sure that the ear can hear. You see, it is the power behind these faculties and our mind, though our faculties and mind cannot reach that. So we want now to learn that science, and even to learn about that repository of power and Shakti within us is a promising thing. So the means of wisdom. So what is then the means of wisdom? Next we will study, after 8 to 13 verses, we will study qualifications of a student. You can check for yourself if you are ready to be a seeker of this knowledge or not. So here they are saying, Ato vimuktai prayateta vidvan samyasta bhayat sukas prihasan santam mahantam samupetya deshikam teno padishtat samahitatma. So they are saying, therefore, Ata, for liberation, for vimukti, for liberation, we should strive. We have to strive. Who has to strive? The wise one. Who is the wise one? For one thing, wisdom can be, I would rather be where the satsanga on Vedanta is occurring than to be watching, say, a TV show. I would rather be here. I would drive here. I would spend my time here. I am the wise one. Why wise? I am not going to take default suffering and a destiny of suffering and a destiny of confusion as my only destiny. I would like to learn that there is something more. The wise people say so. I have not experienced it. In fact, my personal experience is of amazing helplessness, amazing fragmentation, amazing powerlessness, confounding mind that forces my jiva to run here and there. I am unable to calm myself. I am unable to ascertain stability within myself, and yet a part of me, again, the part of me wants to have this inner knowledge. So this wise person, what this person will do, what is the means of wisdom? I will renounce. What am I going to renounce? Through knowledge, I will renounce this belief system that the things I see, touch, smell, hear through my sense objects will give me pleasure. This is a very big belief system change that we have to understand, and looking at the time, I feel like we may have to discuss this shloka second time also. What does it mean, renounce? Not the world. It doesn't say renounce the world. It doesn't say renounce utilitarian value or utilizing the world that you can see by the five senses. After all, we are asking you to eat khichdi, eat takra, and in the right season eat halwa and pudding. We are asking you to do that. We are asking you to have healthy sexual relations, healthy, beautiful bodies, good clothes. We are asking you here in this Vedika, we are asking you to do that. But we are asking you through this verse, this great Acharya Shankara is saying, renounce the belief system that I will get abiding pleasure from anything that my five senses see. Now this understanding may temporarily, until more clarity, create some disillusionment in you, but that may be necessary. I would like to plead Shankara's case here. When we fall in love, haven't we all fallen in love or liked a person? Do you think they are made of Panchamahabhutas? And that Panchamahabhuta is seen by our Panchindriya, five senses? Do they give us continuous, abiding, eternal, uninterrupted pleasure? Or that very person becomes the source of disappointment, disillusionment, sorrow, heartbreak, sooner or later? Even if we are very mature people and we are met and matched and karmically ready and lucky, because we are never lucky, we only deserve what we get according to law of karma. So we deserve to get a mature spouse, partner, friend. Then if nothing else, their death, disappearance and their fragile body, which will decay and has limited warranty guarantee on earth, and in their absence cause us great suffering. Yes or no? The food that we eat, no matter how delicious, how sattvic, how well cooked and how ayurvedically attuned, after a while if we overeat it, will give us suffering. If we don't overeat it, it will get digested, we again feel hungry. Is there any abiding relief from an apple? It is either temporary. If eaten in the wrong season, it causes suffering. If overeaten, it is definitely a curse. And if it is absent, as in a hungry person, it causes grief, remorse and great lust for the apple. Everything in this world which is made up of the five Mahabhutas, which our five senses see, sooner or later become the cause of great suffering. Similarly, when the student, the Shishya, the seeker becomes attached to the Guru's body, becomes attached to the outer with the five senses, then also there is suffering. So any kind of belief system, this has to change with contemplation, where we have to know the source of pleasure is only me and my inner carrot and not the outer carrot. Because the outer carrot will dangle in front of me, as we were talking. The outer carrot, when I eat it, becomes absent and causes suffering. The carrot, when I eat, may be bitter versus sweet. The carrot may be hard. When digested, may give me gas or constipation. And when the carrot is just perfect, I become a lusty and I need more. And when I want more, then I want some more, and then I want some more. And in fact, when the carrot is not available, I become a miserable rodent, addicted, confused, confounded, and saying, look how miserable I have no carrot. He has a carrot. So my entire existence becomes dependent on the carrot. I am so weak, I am so fragile when Advaita Vedanta reminds us, wake up, you fool. Arise, awake, and then fully awake. Realize you are growing these carrots. Spread them to others. You don't need them. You have a divine carrot inside you. So what happens? This is a belief system change. So therefore, when I have students, or I have food, or I have a good house, or I have a lover, let us be very clear. While things are fine, let them be so. We have a preference for things to flow a certain way. But when they change and start giving us suffering, we should know it will be so, and we should not try to control it. The baby that looks really cute and angelic when it's born becomes a difficulty when it's a teenager, becomes a source of sorrow when becomes married and moves away, becomes a source of affliction when the child falls sick or becomes angry with us, becomes a source of great repentance when the child becomes a criminal, becomes a source of great attachment if the child is perfect. And so in every which way, that little bundle of joy is nothing but a carrot. But if the mother knows, this is also something I am seeing by 5 senses, and if it is there, good. If it is not there and the God snatches it away earlier than it was meant to be, so be it, because my pleasure lies within. So a first learning, a mean of wisdom they are saying is that for a seeker, we have to first of all understand that the world is here to not just give us pleasure but also sorrow. This belief system that somehow I'm entitled to always have pleasure. And every time I have sorrow from those same objects, I will complain till I'm hoarse. I'll be angry, I'll be manic, I'll be depressive, I'll medicate myself. I will analyze it, I will run to a therapist, I will medicate myself, I will drown myself in sorrow, I will take sleeping pills, and I will even try to commit suicide. Because I am angry that this world that I can see is not giving me pleasure. But Advaita Vedanta is saying it cannot, it is not meant to. It is not supposed to give you pleasure. Pleasure lies within, because that same cruel person in our life, or that same indigestion caused by that apple, if we are in touch with another place within us, our thoughts, our perceptions, our beliefs will be such way that another person is slapping us and we are saying, my God, am I burning my karmas or what? Oh my God, you are being my enemy? Interesting. And I am getting to see how I behave. Thank you, soul, for behaving like that. Very nice. And instead of a challenging world, it becomes a world for play. Because pleasure is internal. If we want, we can be upset. And if we want, we can choose to be okay. And when there is a place we touch inside, we are actually always okay. There is a whole teaching in psychology which says, you know, you're okay, I'm okay, you're not okay, I'm okay, right? Transactional psychology. You're okay, I'm okay. And Advaita Vedanta says, I'm always okay. What about you? Doesn't matter. I'm always okay. But it's not just a belief system, because belief systems can change. It is a very deep experiential place of okayness, in fact of ascendancy, in fact of transcendency. And so they are saying here, to complete the shloka, that first of all, there is within the seeker, this seed is being planted, that if you are with a happy relationship, you are just ride the ups and downs. Don't just start wailing and bewailing and trying to control the situation, because the world made of 5 senses which comes to us is not going to, it is not the source of pleasure. The pleasures are within. And for example, a difficult relationships, and we touch something within, we will start changing that relationship. And then it says after that, we go up to a deshikam. Deshikam means a teacher who speaks and teaches. So we go to a deshikam, a teacher who's teaching verbally. I mean, they are not just sitting in a cave. You know, there's a time when a teacher is in a cave. You understand cave? Not just a mountain cave, but they may be in isolation. They may be in silence. They may choose to be where they are, right? They may not choose to be in the public. They may not choose to give their time. They may not choose to be talking, teaching, counseling, explaining, going shloka by shloka, right? So you go to a teacher who is now available to teach us this shruti, this profound truth. But at the same time, what is this teacher like? There are two adjectives, santam and mahantam. Santam comes from the word santa. Santa has many qualities. Maybe again in the next class I will explain. But Santa qualities are highly sattvic qualities, but they are specifically in this tradition. They know some scriptures. They know the scripture they are talking about. It is not based just on some random discussion. They have great qualities of knowledge, brilliance, compassion, understanding, and they themselves know, and their equanimity or their energy or their poise or their choices are not just based upon the world. There are some more internal positions, santam. And then mahantam. Mahantam, mahan, there are two understandings of it. One can be, they are also very generous. Generous of time, generous of even the ignorant ones. Why? The ordinary person will say, you are so ignorant, and will get frustrated. But the generous-hearted, compassionate teacher will bother to be the lone one with both eyes open, sitting with the blind and the half open-eyed ones. And they will be asking childlike, meaningless questions. They will be repeating their blunders of ignorance. But the teacher will not say, didn't I teach you that shloka last time? How come you are behaving so petty all over again? The Mahantam teacher knows that pettiness is a default condition until the Atman is enunciated and initiated and awakened and held hand till a certain part, till they can take over on their own. You understand? So sometimes in the Vedic tradition, Mandarji will agree, teacher may slap you also. But a slap is from love. That slap is not a judgment quality. You understand? Because we go to a spiritual teacher just scorns at them and says, you know, I don't think I really have the time of the day to teach you. You're all a blackout as far as consciousness goes. See you in 5 lifetimes. That doesn't exactly work, you know. It's like, okay, you're here and I'll keep explaining things at your level. You're here, I'll keep explaining things at your. So there is some generosity. A teacher mingles with masses and millions of people who are not at their consciousness. What does the ordinary man say? I don't really like that club. You know, everybody's very ignorant. I don't really like those people. They don't match my vibration. But the teacher doesn't think like that. The teacher doesn't start teaching in a sangha for companionship. You know, we want somebody to light the match and then we burn. You know, so Shishya is like that. Teacher puts ghee, teacher puts, you know, makes the wood, make you dry so that you're not wet with gooey emotions. You are a little dry with the sunshine of knowledge. Thoda pak jayegi lakdi. So strong, so it can catch fire. Then the teacher will ignite with knowledge and say swaha, and there will be a nice fire. But who is burning the teacher? How does the teacher light the fire? Teacher is self-burning. That is the difference between teacher and student. Every time the student goes to the teacher, student gets lit up. But the teacher is always burning. Why? Okay, this is now, they have become self-burning. When a student starts self-burning, self-motivating, self-checking, self-contemplating, self-pulling away from the 5 sensory world and saying, I don't need to believe in the suffering, I don't need to believe in the joy, I am inside. That time the student has started slightly self-burning. You understand? But when in the beginning students say, I don't know if I should study, I don't know if I can continue this, I don't know, I'm feeling this. That time the teacher has to be generous, mahantam, and say, it's okay, I will light the fire again. It's okay, I will light the fire again. You understand? And so Santam Mahantam and Deshikam is a teaching. So one should, you have to, as a student, keep withdrawing from the five sensory world as a previous belief system that it owes me pleasure. We should know, as we encounter living beings, material things like a house. You buy a house and you think, now all my life is solved. You get a promotion, now I'll be happy. You find a soulmate, now I'll be happy. Are nare baba. Now we have 5 ashrams of Vedika, now I'm happy. I was just telling Swara in the car, can you imagine my life? I'll be the most unhappy person at that time. Manage this, manage that. Today I was busy with them for 2-3 hours. I have 30 and then in the car only 15 more, 45 emails to look at. With just this small little place. So you think that growth, promotion, title, loved one, more work, more suffering, more difficulty. More money you have in the bank, more management you have to do. More robbers who want to come. More beautiful you get, more people have eye on you, jealous, angry. So there is no hope. Only hope is internal. So once we check inside, then we do the right thing outside, dharma. We do our dharma outside. With dharma we will learn through this. One way that you have to do. Teacher has to be Santam Mahantam. Teacher won't scorn you. If you are feeling so small, you come. If you are feeling big, you come. If you are feeling arrogant, you come to the Sangha. If you are feeling very miserable, you still come to the Sangha. Why? Because they are saying that Upadishtartha Samahitatma. So you become attuned to the true significance of each word being taught. So if you want the right way of wisdom, it is you can do your holy acts, you can do your puja, you can light your lamp, you can do your japa. Those are things we want you to do. They are foundational. Because if you are lying in your couch all day, you have not taken a shower, first of all you will smell in the small space, one. But number two, you will not have enough energy even to drive here. So those are basic things to calm the mind. Eat the right food, be healthy, do some vyayama, exercise. But after that, start pulling in every time your world runs out and go up to a teacher who is Santam Mahantam and go, they are saying a very nice word, Samupetya, go meekly. Go with some meekness. What does this mean? Meekness. Why this word is being meek? What does it mean? Many people show up to the teacher and interrupt them 10 times, not to ask a genuine question, but to show what they know. This kind of showing off of didactics and knowledge doesn't exist in this teacher-student interaction, which is between both the fishes trying to achieve moksha. Or one may be closer and one may be wanting. Are you understanding? This is not a place to be arrogant and sit there and judge and say, but wait, on page 32, it says this and then you said that. And I don't think I agree. And I personally feel that you are putting me down here. When you talked about trauma, weren't you talking about me? When you talked about vyayama, wasn't that a hint at me? Then it's like somebody has gone with a total desire to pick a fight, pick an argument, or find a reason to be upset and continue the world and see the guru or the teacher with 5 senses and say, that smile was a smirk, that shloka was a total show-off, and that system of knowledge is trying to take me away from my path. And that is definitely a call for this and that. So they say instead, you are genuine, you want something, find a teacher and then go meekly or with the right attitude of wanting to learn. Of course, there are many ways of showing that this is such a fair text. It's Vedanta. And I told you from the beginning, it is not for blind seekers. You have to be discriminative. There you will find how to judge the right teacher. And the teacher is told how to judge the student. And there will be many sitting in the crowds who will want to go not meekly, angrily, upset and show up. Or leave angry. That can happen. But for the true seeker, the attitude has to be one of really genuinely receiving, being humble about it, and making sure the teacher is non-judging. And if there is judgment, and sorting it out. If they experience judgment from the teacher, then they should sort it out, not continue going there and feeling this internal judgment for the teacher. Yeah? Sorting it out. Only then can real dialogue start taking place. And therefore, the learned seeker who is striving to gain moksha, and which means this place of deep bliss, unalloyed bliss, who has renounced or is renouncing the belief system and his desires for pleasure in the external sense objects, or rather seeking the pleasure source within, should duly, with right attitude, approach a good santam and generous mahantam master, and must live attuned to the true significance of the words of the master. So if somebody says to me, I did not eat for 1 week because I was withdrawing from the 5 senses pleasure, then that person has not understood the true significance of the word. But the one who says, I found myself eating the same food because I went to a place where they were serving very stale or very bland food, or I was caught up in a place where there was not enough food, like in a war torn, and I was still okay, then that person has understood the purport of the message. That my ease and my well-being is not entirely dependent upon the external world, because it changes by the nanosecond, and therefore it hijacks my state of well-being by the nanosecond. So with that we close. We have 5 minutes before we end, 7:15. Any questions or comments? Have you joined the Google group? We have a word-by-word transcription. If you want to join the Google group, please talk to Tueri. She will sign you up for the Google group, and every week you will get a word-by-word transcription of my talk that my student Shivani in India is doing seva, where she listens to each word and puts it down. So it's there for you. You can also post a question, a query, or a comment which will reach me. Would anybody like to add anything? Does that clarify you even more, Swara, today's talk? Your questions allow me to explain things. It's a dialogue. It is not a monologue. You want to say something, Amba? Yeah, you do.
I don't.
Yeah, you do. Say it.
I don't know, I've been reading this on my own last year, but it's very different to hear with the teacher, because the shlokas is so contradictory.
Because the
little, you can, as you said, you can read one shloka here and then 10 pages later to say something else.
Yeah.
So,
like it had talked about masculine, rational, non-sentimental, critical attitude, and then it will talk about examining the teacher, and then it will talk about having a meek attitude. So what it means is that if you feel that the teacher is allowing you to flow, open, expand, and go within, then you go with a meek attitude. But even at that time when you're with the teacher, when you're learning, because the teacher is not just me now, it's this grantha, and it's not this book, it's that acharya. It is aptavakya, it is coming from a very renowned source. And we have already gone through a shloka which says, how lucky are we to be human? And how many times do we get Mahapurusha Samshraya? We get this knowledge from these Mahapurushas. How many are there? Handful of them. You can count on your fingers. So when you're getting that knowledge, it is to this knowledge that we are very meek. But we also examine the teacher, because the whole goal was freedom and not getting bonded to a teacher. Bondage. Bonded but not bondage. There's a difference. Yeah?
it also kind of shows, I think, that it's not very linear, the teaching, because the mind always wants, oh, it's like this, like this, like this, like this. There should be no contradiction, everything should be clear.
These teachings are called Guru Mukha. They have to come from a teacher. When I could not teach it, I gave you a great book to read and it helped you even that time. But when they are learned from it, they are even saying, go to a teacher. And this is only the 8th verse. It is saying, go to a teacher. But go to the teacher. Before that, they say, but before that, here is a belief system that may be worthy of contemplation. That the belief system that the world owes me pleasure, and it's a bunch of buttons, and every time I press it, I'll get the same pleasure. That's an erroneous belief system. There are certain erroneous positions that we have taken, and we keep pressing them, we keep getting electric shocks, and we keep complaining. We are being told that you press the button, it will give some tingling, tingling, nice, soothing things, and then one day it will give electric shock. That's just the way the world is. We begin with the way the world is. That's why Vedanta is amazing. It doesn't talk about heavens and harps and gods and devis and devas. It talks about the way the world is. It is based on astute observation. All of you agreed that the same object or person of pleasure, object relationship, person relationship, ends up becoming a source of sorrow sooner or later. The coveted throne becomes a cause of an unhappy head lying on the bed, right? The king cannot sleep. The president cannot sleep. So everything comes with some sorrow. So one is saying to the seeker, you want the way, right? Now you understand that none of this gives us any pleasure continuously. Of course, we will learn about 3 types of 5 sense, tamasic, rajasic, sattvic. Sattva can give us more pleasure, but abiding pleasure lives within. And that's what we are trying to touch. Okay, Amba? So it's 7:15. We are sadhana of time. Thank you for beginning more on time, but we can, if you want a whole hour, you want to begin at 6:15. Thank you. Thank you, Mandaji. So we continue with our classes. Pallavs, your teacher is here, Dr. Sharma.